a scion of many worlds. "What's our situation?" Jasper demands as he swoops up to Lady Allure's level, and she levels out to hover with Axiom assistance. "We're 3,000 kilometers away. 56 women need rescue, and a nation is burning itself alive." "All right, let's get moving. You can tell me more on the way," he says, and she nods before pulling a horn off her belt and letting out a loud and carrying bugle. Her squires quickly fly up to her. "Lead the way." "We go fast," Lady Allure shouts, and she tears off using his jet technique, and he actually struggles to catch up. They go up high, above the clouds themselves, to where the air is slightly thinner. No risk of running into things at this absurd pace, but he's forced to dip more into the local Axiom to keep himself going. There's little air to breathe. Breathing is hard, flying is harder, and the pace they're setting is nothing short of insane. Hopefully there will be a minute for them to catch their breath and get some details beyond the number of people in need of rescue. They're moving just shy of supersonic speed, so it shouldn't take too long to arrive. It takes 3 hours. The halt in the air is sudden, and Jasper will forever refuse to admit he nearly careened into the entire group when they suddenly snapped their wings out. He takes in a deep, nourishing breath as he sees the damage already happening below. We're going to have to split up. Do we have a meeting point for allied rescuers?" "Yes, the main midwife temple is to be taken back first. We use that as a beachhead to knock back the offending parties and get our girls out alive." "Understood. What's our opinion on the people in the way? We going in lethal or not?" "Lethal. If they're crazy enough to ignore the threat of death, then they won't stop until they're dead." "All right. You know the terrain," Jasper says, and Lady Allure leads them all in a dive. As they approach the capital city, his eyes narrow to see beams of burning red light, lasers, too thick to be basic pistol or rifle lasers either, full-on cannons. That's a lot of firepower. "Those weapons, are you familiar with them?" "Somewhat. I didn't get a lot of practice, but what I do know let me make myself almost immune to light erumenta abilities. It is based on light, but it will burn brutally. These ones have a thick beam, meaning they're cannons. A laser cannon hits the hardest short of it being mounted on a ship, but unless it has a big battery pack, it won't have a lot of shots. 2 or 3, then it will need some time to gather more energy." "Doesn't sound too bad. It hits hard enough that I'm not going to try to block or deflect. Also, any idiot can use them. If a child gets their hands on a cannon, they can use it just the same as an adult, height and accuracy aside." Jasper warns them, and there are some glances back at him. "Technology makes killing far too easy," one of the squires notes. "Technology makes most things easy," Jasper replies as they swoop down through burning streets. "There's our temple. Clear out the rioters. Support the guardians. We are the Grand Paladins. We do not fail." Lady Allure shouts, drawing her two-handed sword and swooping in. All of her squires roar in response as they follow. And Jasper, rather than sassing the fact that against him she has failed, lets out the loudest trill he can and draws both his blades and lands on top of someone about to set fire to a pile of books. He turns to the crowd and adds a roar to his trill. Nagasha, Jorgwa, some Lirak, and a lot of water erumenta. "It's just an Orthani we can..." A Jorgwa that resembles more a horned T-Rex with enough muscles for Jasper to appreciate starts to sass him. He buries his sword through her chest. He then boots her in the stomach and launches the corpse off his blade and into the crowd. A small amount of the rioting dies off. "Rejoice! An undaunted Titan has arrived! Flee and survive! Surrender and live!" he bellows, and there's a roar from inside the crowd. Apparently someone does not want to be intimidated. She's half again as tall as he is and comes down at him with what looks like a two-headed glaive made out of a plow blade on one side for an axe head and ship's anchor on the other head for either a hammer or a counterweight. The first attack has the crazy bitch bury the plow into the cobbles he was standing in and cratering the street. She presses in hard and brings down the anchor. He catches it and holds fast. She buries him into the cobbles up to his ankles. Wow, that hurt. He mutters even as he stacks more and more reinforcement from the local axiom onto himself. She tries to pull back her impromptu polearm, but he does not let go of the anchor. His strength increases further and further as his claw starts to close around the metal and it starts to creak in protest. The Jorgwa snorts down at him. Bugs should be squashed, little Earthani. Let go and live. Funny, I was about to say that, Madam Compensation, Jasper replies. He is fully aware of the irony of a man who's basically on all the steroids calling someone else out for overcompensation. Wait, you were about to call her an Earthani? One of the stupider rioters asks, before the big girl rips her weapon back hard. This tears Jasper out of the ground as he does not let go in the slightest. His claw closes completely, and he breaks off a chunk of the anchor with an audible clang as he's hurled upwards by the momentum. A quick blast of reinforcement to his arm, and he launches the piece back down on the Jorgwa, who dodges. But he buries the foot-long chunk of iron meters deep into the cobbles. The crowd scream as things get a little too real for him. A glance back tells him that this entire approach to the temple is being stopped by this fight, so he's doing his job this way. If your friends come, it just gives me more targets, she growls up at him. I was just making sure they didn't need help. I'm going to enjoy this. He replies slowly, drawing his second sword. He blasts down so hard he's nothing but a streak as he brings down both weapons. She both dodges and parries, deflecting him away and avoiding damage, but he gets something as the shaft of her weapon gets a chunk sliced out of it that falls to the ground between them. She slowly shifts her grip to hold the two halves of her broken weapon like two one-handed weapons instead. The first swing is across from the side with the plow that he deflects away before she tries to bring the hammer down on him. He steps forward to get under her reach. Her size turns against her and takes a swing. She pulls back without input from her legs. He glimpses a large and powerful tail that she used to pull backwards with. Not unlike, but very unlike a Nagasha. She then instantly comes back onto him with a double swing of the weapons, and they're low, so he jumps up before launching forwards with his swords ready to impale her. She falls backwards, literally, and partially dodges as she pulls her arms around for a backswing. He's forced to abandon the charge after the butt of her right-handed weapon rams into his side and he needs to shift or be thrown into a nearby building. As it is, he lands on the side instead, reorients his wings, and launches once more. Her response is to roll to the side and bring out a tail full of spikes. So reinforced is the skin and bone that as he cuts it for a harsh parry, he doesn't slice it off, only cuts to nigh impenetrable bone. She pulls on the tail brutally hard, and he's taken for a ride and slammed to the ground. He skids backwards with his claws digging shattered trenches through the stones. A roll of his shoulders and he charges before vanishing in a teleport. She's not stupid, and he only opens a thin line in her skin as she rolls away, the tail coming back, and he vanishes again. This time he reappears just outside of her swinging distance as he builds up a huge amount of axiom in his throat. His fire breath is met with a roar as she actually mimics part of what he's doing to blow the flames and heat back. It roils in the middle and quickly reaches critical mass. The explosion rocks them both, and as the smoke clears, Jasper's eyes narrow at his opponent as hers narrow at him. The woman is every inch what the dinosaurs could have been. He respects that, but he has a damn job to do. What tribe spat you out? I can't imagine someone half as vicious wiggling out of an Earthani cocoon. She asks evenly as she takes a wide stance to either charge him down with a singular leap or defend from his next attack. Earthani come out of cocoons? Interesting. Jasper notes out loud and her eye ridges go up. You're not Earthani? Makes sense. Am and not. This body I am in was fully grown but empty for centuries. Then my brother's mind was copied and placed within it, making me. Who does that? How does one do that? What's a brother? She asks, looking for some kind of angle to try and get into his head. A brother is a male version of a sister. My mother, Morgana Skitterway, did it, and no, I don't know why. The how is simple. There is a tool designed to preserve memories. Toy with it so it holds the memories longer and place it upon another. Interesting. I will be pondering your life for a time after your death, strange Earthani. I am Jasper Emmanuel Skitterway Blue. Jasper will do. Morticia Thagomizer. Most go with Thag, she says, and he nods. Very well then, Thag. Shall we continue? He asks, shifting his left sword into a reverse grip. He'll lead right and follow up with left, or spin the other way to do a buzzsaw impression. He needs her guessing and unsure where the pain comes from. She snorts and slides her grip up the plow weapon. A snap of her jaws and it's shortened entirely. That sucker is going to be so much faster now. He'll have to avoid it. Or maybe. He blurs forward and primes a teleport, but refuses to go along with it. He axe slams into the gathering energy and her eyes widen as she feels the sword start to sink in. One last trick, one final bluff, and it's over. She looks down at him. His sword's halfway into her intestines and he looks up. Sorry, but I have a job to do. Her response is to nearly cleave him in half with the axe. His retreat is met by the anchor coming down at him. He deflects, but mostly dodges the blow, and then his every danger sense screams and he ducks. A burning red line scorches the air just above his antenna. Someone's got a laser on him. He ignores Thag as he scans the crowd beyond her. She just became the less dangerous option. A slight red glow in the distance is all the warning he gets. 30 meters, second story. Someone's trying to snipe, badly. He fades to the side of the second attack and blasts forward, teleporting most of the way to get around Thag as he reappears right outside. He crashes through the wall in a fury, and the Nagasha with the cannon screams loud as her next shot charges. A kick sends the beam pointing upwards and opens her for a quick chop to take her life with ease. He sheathes his left sword, grabs the weapon and slips through space and time to reappear down the street and closer to the temple. In the distance, Thag just body-checked the building he got the cannon from like a wrecking ball. He warps down the street and sees that some of the midwives apparently were able to stay out of captivity. Here, I just got this off one of the enemies. It's a light weapon. The hole is where the pain comes from. Treat it like a crossbow otherwise. Weapon handed off, he blurs out of the temple and makes it barely 30 meters until he and Thag meet each other again. His sudden charge caught her somewhat off guard and she can't properly bring her weapons in, and his own catch them. He kicks her right in the collar and pumps a huge amount of axiom in to send her tumbling. Her anchor slams into the street and she stops her tumbling momentum. She rises up with a snarl, her hackles raised as she breathes deeply and fully as Jasper does the same. This fight's barely begun.